Top of the morning to you. This is Monday with Friday, preparing you for a better week ahead. If you attended church yesterday or on Saturday, and if the worship leaders follow the lectionary, you might have heard a reading from or even a sermon based on the prophet Habakkuk, one of the so-called minor prophets who didn't have much to say, but what he said was prescient and potent. And I suspect I'm going to remain with some of what this prophet said for weeks to come. For those persons queasy about sermons, this is not going to be a sermon. It is simply a glimpse into our current realities, whether we live in America governed by a felon or are concerned about what wickedness continues to be rained down on Gaza from an Israeli criminal, or have become hopeless about Ukraine or Sudan or even what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago, governed by politics of racial tensions and standing 7 miles off the Venezuelan coast and sharing Venezuelan waters and becoming the possible future victim of collateral damage of war from a bully, or whose innocent fishermen might one day be accused of drug running, unable to defend themselves because they have been murdered, blown off their boats to their watery death by the collusion of a drunken adulterer who is now the laughingstock of 1,000 generals and admirals, and a former Cuban who no longer has integrity or credibility or heart, and by the orders of a felonious commander-in-chief. Yes, this is not a sermon or something religious. It is something about what a man wrote 2,600 years ago that still bears extreme warning for us in the world today. Habakkuk lived in a time when those who had power abused it with impunity, whether they were kings or business people or ordinary people or religious leaders. In my next few episodes, I shall itemize some of these acts of violence and injustice that could be considered exact replicas of some of what we witness and some of what we endure in our country or watch happening in somebody else's country. In the opening words of this prophet, we hear him praying. Everybody prays at one time or another, whether in church or in the mandir or in the mosque or somewhere else, the temple. Or many more of us, we pray in a plane when severe turbulence hits and we think we're going down to die. So prayer is not particularly religious. Some people pray in examinations when they realize, oh God, I haven't studied this thing, help me. Prayer is a human reality. Listen to this prophet. Listen to him. How long, God, must I call for help, but you do not listen? I cry out to you, violence, but you do not save. Why do you make me look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrongdoing? Destruction and violence are all around me and before me. There is strife and conflict. It all abounds. And therefore the law is paralyzed. It's like the law isn't working anymore and justice never prevails. The wicked hem in the righteous so that justice is perverted. Now those are only the opening words of Habakkuk's prophecy. But you can already identify yourself in his prayer, don't you? If you're thinking about Ukraine or Palestine or Sudan or Venezuela or America presided over by a criminal, there's violence all around. It seems like the people with money are winning and they're the only people who get justice. It seems like only the people with a certain skin color are recognized and everybody else is unimportant. It seems like only straight people are recognized and gay people are no people, and so on and so forth. Violence and injustice prevail around us, and we pray. Shootings happen every day in America, fatal shootings, mass shootings. And the liars who legislate this into reality keep saying thoughts and prayers, and nothing happens. It's like God isn't listening. Is it really that God isn't listening? Or we're saying and doing the wrong things? Well, through this man's prayer, we experience the same thing, don't we? But we also hear something that we all do at one time or another. This is really a declaration of lament. The preacher I listened to yesterday said a number of times, lament is holy. Lament is holy. It is okay to lament. It is okay to cry out, whether to the wind or to God or to the powers that be, or what. It is okay to lament. There's a whole book in the Bible, she reminded the congregation, called Lamentations. Lament may be holy, but to lament is also human. I think the world is plunged into a state of lamentation. Vladimir Putin makes us lament. Benjamin Netanyahu makes us lament. The 34-count felon and the 1-count for sexual offenses felon, who should be in prison, not an Oval Office, makes us lament. Unprincipled, greedy, and wicked legislators make us lament, whether they're Democrat or Republican or green or orange in Jamaica. Wicked legislators make us lament. Irresponsible, weak, and indifferent leaders who should be pushing back against their colleagues or against the other 2 branches of government make us lament. Perverted law and perverted justices, whether supreme or not, make us lament. And especially if they're supreme justices, they make us lament supremely. You want to know what else makes us lament? The fallout from our very bad decisions at elections make us lament. Our refusal to listen to good counsel, good sense, and facts makes us lament. One simple example for Americans who have ears to hear is that we were told time and again last year that there's a thing called Project 2025. The liar, in his one presidential debate, denied knowing anything about it. He said he doesn't even want to read it. He said there are parts of it that are so bad. He doesn't know about it, but he knows that parts of it are bad and he doesn't even want to read it. That's how liars work. And that's how gullible people listen and believe. Scores of people, from news anchors to politicians to comedians, told America there is a thing called Project 2025 and it is bad, evil, wicked, and destructive. Don't vote for it. And you know what America did? 1/3 of us voted for it, another third stayed home, and the rest of us voted against it. The result? Project 2025 now rules America, and we are in lamentation season. And it is because we did not listen. And it is because we did the wrong thing. It is not that God is not listening. It is that consequences happen, and faith does not secure us against consequences of bad decisions. I'll say that one more time. Faith and religion and even God do not secure us or save us from the consequences of our bad decisions. I think that what most of us read on Facebook that sounds like anger is really lament. We are in lamentation season. And at the front end, it feels hopeless. But as the preacher said yesterday, lament is holy. Maybe we might learn something as we lament. And next week, I shall tell you what the lamenting prophet thought he heard God say in answer. Americans in particular might be interested because that answer sure looks like us. Please share this video with someone. I am Michael Friday, and admittedly your week just got heavier. That's what lament does. Nevertheless, happy Monday all the way to Friday. Make some good decisions this week, my friends.